Woohoo! We're about to start the course. However, it's always a good idea to have a look at the roadmap of what we're about to learn and the steps we're going to take so that we know where we're ending up, so you have a clear path to success. So let's see what this course will look like for you. Now, before I lay out the course outline, I do want to show you the thing that most students say is the best part of the course. Right here. Our online private community of over 300,000 professionals. We have students chatting here every day, helping each other out, solving problems together, doing challenges, and just talking about the latest and greatest in the tech world. This is an optional resource for you to use so you can have back and forth conversation with other students and myself and Mo, so you feel like you're part of a classroom. I'm on there chatting every day, and this way you feel like you aren't doing the course on your own, and you have others pushing you to finish. Okay, I got sidetracked. Back to the course outline. Now the course starts off with a big data breach at Keiko Corp, and they hired you to look at their databases and figure out what happened and who stole this important data, and that's going to set the stage for the rest of the course. Now the first part is the history of data. We're going to learn about what a database is, what are the types of databases that we can have, and how a company like Amazon might want to have databases instead of pen and paper or Excel sheets to keep track of their customers, their products. Then we go straight into SQL fundamentals. What is SQL? How to do a query? What are tables? Learning about primary key, foreign keys. Learning about OLTP versus OLAP databases. These are the basics that we need to know to truly understand SQL. Then we get into the important part, the environment setup. We want to make sure that we use professional tools that you're going to encounter in your professional career. We're going to be using tools like Valentina Studio, installing databases like PostgreSQL, which is one of the most popular databases out there, so that you know how to set up your machine, how to create a database, how to use tools to make queries using SQL. And don't worry, we provide videos for Mac, Linux, and Windows users so that we accommodate everybody to make sure that everybody is able to work and follow this course. Next is the SQL deep dive. This is where we go beyond the basics and learn about things like functions, aggregate functions, filtering data, using comparison operators, working with dates and different data types, and learning about joins, doing different types of joins to combine different tables, an important topic that you always encounter when it comes to SQL. As if that wasn't hard enough, and don't worry, I say hard, but we will guide you every step of the way. We get into even more advanced SQL because we don't want to just cover the basics. We want to get you job ready here. This advanced SQL part is going to talk about things like indexes to improve performance of your queries, about using subqueries, looking at things like partition by, order by, group by. Lots of advanced topics that most other courses don't cover. Then we go to the next part, even more exciting, one of my favorite parts. And this is all about database management. What happens when you're in charge of a database? How do you set up a database in an organization? How do you assign roles to different employees that are going to be using the database, setting up privileges, granting privileges, learning about the data types and how you're going to set up the columns and tables, learning about backups, how to restore a database. Again, things that are going to take you from just a junior to somebody that truly understands databases and is comfortable working with them. This is a really fun part. And I know I say this about every section, but right after that, we have another fun section, which is the database design. And this is all about how to design data. Because in order to work with databases, you need to not just throw a bunch of data to it, but you need to actually design it so that it is optimized, it works properly. We're gonna learn about system design, top-down design, bottom-up design, and how to really take charge of the relational model to make sure that you design the databases using the best practices in mind. This is one of those topics that you might learn when you're doing your computer science degree, but you won't find anywhere else on the internet. All right, and after all of that, if that wasn't enough, you now have the tools to actually solve the mystery, the data breach at Keiko Corp. Once you've learned all these topics, we're gonna go back to the mystery And now you're going to get access to Keiko Corp's databases, and using all that you've learned in the previous sections, we're gonna give you clues and you're gonna try to solve the mystery yourself so that you become the hero of the day. But don't worry, along the way in all the previous sections, we have tons of exercises that you're gonna do to make sure that you're not just watching us, but you actually get to interact with data, actually work with things, because without practice, we won't really learn anything. So lots of exercises, but this is the final big piece that I think you're really gonna love. Next up, once we've solved that mystery, we feel good about ourselves, we wanna take a high-level overview of the whole database landscape. We're gonna talk about things like scalability, about sharding, about replication, backups. What does distributed versus centralized databases mean? How do we secure a database? How do things like SQL injection work? How to store passwords safely? And then also talk about important topics in the industry, like relational databases versus NoSQL, Postgres versus MongoDB. We're gonna talk about things like NewSQL, about other databases like Elasticsearch, like S3 Object Storage, and how they differ and how they might be able to work alongside relational databases. We then have some bonus sections for those that really want to expand their horizons and get into the world of data engineering, where we talk about things like machine learning, how data engineering and tools like Hadoop, Spark, Kafka might be used in a different way to analyze data, to create machine learning models. These are different types of databases that are being used for different industries. But at the end of the day, they are still databases that work with data. We then learn about a database that I think is extremely useful and you're gonna encounter in your career, and that is Redis. It's a key value storage, a memory storage that is used very often for things like caching. It's an important topic and we added here as a bonus for those that are extra curious and wanna learn about different types of databases. Finally, there's some extra bits in there that we throw things like, how does a database actually connect to a web app that uses Node.js? As you can see, there's lots to cover. And we try to cover a big landscape because the database landscape is big. And we wanna make sure that you can connect the dots and you understand the whole picture. I promise you, we're gonna make it fun along the way. By the end of it all, this is all going to make sense and you're gonna truly understand the power of SQL and how to work with databases. We're gonna take you from zero to mastery. Okay, enough talk, let's get started and let's start learning.